Hello, this is Linda Lavid from my YouTube channel. I'm going high tech. I'm in a studio on the second floor. This is Chris's studio, and we got a lot of stuff going on here. It's the first time I've recorded upstairs. Um, so this is just a video. I haven't done a live video, not a live video, but a person with me talking, a talking head video in a while. So I just want to talk a little bit about different things that I have planned that may be or may not be of interest to you. Um, I have been writing a lot, and that's one reason why the screen is up here. This is my my Vella screen, and I'm going to talk about the stories uh, that I have up. I have 6 stories up. 2 are done, and I'm working on 4 others. One should be done relatively soon. I want to talk about my Vella stories, and I will include a link in the description how you can find these if you're interested in pursuing them or want to read them or check them out. So I have been writing a lot, and it's been interesting. I wrote a lot in the fall, and then I took a break for the summer, the winter, and the holidays, and I did some work on the house, so I took a break on that. And then I started again at the end of March, and so now we're here almost at the end of May, and I've been writing a lot. And what I found when I'm writing is I lose track. I'm writing pretty much every day, not for the full hours, but I write for maybe 2 or 3 hours, and I take a break, and then I write again for 2 or 3 hours, and then there's editing and resubmissions, and I'm losing track of time. I'm getting it in like in another place. It's so weird, and it's kind of cool, but it's kind of scary too because I'm not in my. I'm like I don't know where my brain is. I don't know. It's really weird. Anyways, so that's been happening, and that's been a lot of fun. I have not been doing any art, which I'm a little disappointed about because I love doing art and it very much relaxes me. Writing is harder for me. I plan on doing some large abstracts. I think 24 by 24. I got some. I have some canvases that I bought. I bought 5 or 6 of them. So I'll be showing more of those during the summer when we open the barn. So that's got to still be done. I'm a little behind in that as well. So I've been doing a lot of writing. The Vella is still paying for my writing. I mean, they have these Vella bonuses, and they send me money when I publish. Every time I publish, I get money. Um, every month is different, and it's hard to say what I'm getting money for, but I am still getting money, which is more money than I've gotten in a very long time for my writing. So that is really good. Um, what else do I want to say? I made sconces for the first time. I was telling Chris I made sconces for the first time last week, and he said sconces. Oh, scones! I made scones for the first time. They were delicious, and they're so easy to make. I got a great recipe, and so I just if you're not a baker but you want to bake something, bake scones. And it's stuff that you have in your house. It's milk, and you need baking powder, baking soda, milk, eggs, flour. I use cranberries, dried cranberries, yeah, dried cranberries. It's a great recipe. And then butter. Butter's a big part of it. So if you're interested in baking something and trying out something new and delicious, I would try not sconces but scones. So I wanted to share that uh, fascinating detail of my life. And what else have I done? Just yesterday, we watch a lot of Netflix and a lot of documentaries. Of course, we're following Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, ridiculousness. But it is amusing. Uh, it's a nice break from reality because no one's died. Everyone's moved on. This is all in the past, and everyone survived. And so it's kind of interesting watching it. I can't say I watched every minute of it, but we do watch a fair amount of it. But the thing I started watching last night was Love, Love, um, I can't remember the name of it. Yeah, it's about um, love in the spectrum of love. Love in the spectrum, I think it's called, and it's just a wonderful. It's reality TV. They follow people that have been diagnosed on the autistic spectrum, uh, and they're dating. They're trying to find someone to be with, and it's really heartwarming and interesting. And the families, it's not just the people that have been diagnosed, but it's their families and who they meet, and it's just a really wonderful little show that I would strongly recommend. It's really interesting. Now, the other thing I want to just mention briefly, I've been doing more. I did a couple more tarot readings, and if anyone has something they want me to do as far as a tarot reading, shoot me a little. You can send me an email or put it in the comments, and I'll do a reading. Could be a personal reading uh, for you, or a political reading. And I can't say when I'll get to it, but I'll get it. Well, no charge or anything. Just a fun thing, because I have so many of these cool decks I bought probably in the last few months. I bought some interesting decks that I want to use, and check that out. So feel free to do that. Um, I will not identify you if it's a personal issue. I won't identify you. I'll just say what the issue is. And I'll put it up there online, and then you'll see it when it comes up. So there's that. The other thing I'm going to do, since I've never done it, and I've been terribly remiss, and I should do it. And I have an art site. I have a website, lindalavid.com, and I have my YouTube channel, and I started a podcast, and there are other things I'm doing for just for fun and also for promotion. I'm going to be taking my books, the published books that I have, and talking about each book in a YouTube video. So I want to kind of highlight each book and then talk about them, talk about what made me write them, what I got out of them, maybe talk about some of the reviews, and just put them out there. And then I'll be using those as promotion on other sites that I have. So that will be under a playlist of books, and you can very much look forward to seeing that, I'm sure. So today, in that vein of doing something like that, I want to talk about my Vella books. So they're right here. Chris queued them up. There's a green screen behind me, crazy, and then I have an iPad in front of me where I can scroll and I can talk about each thing. I can also click on it. So we're going to talk about my books that I have on Vella, and it's a lot of fun. So let's start. The first book I want to talk about is The Accidental Ant. That's one I started more recently, probably less than a month ago. I have 12 episodes, and let's see the story here. Click on it. I'm new to this, so we'll have to do. Now, the story is about, I wrote a story down. When Caroline's brother suddenly dies, her 15-year-old niece, Sophie, becomes her charge. In short order, the family of distinct parts crashes together into a confused mass. In time, the quirky, disparate family is redefined and uniquely made whole. So that's essentially the story. And this is an interesting story for me. I'm writing it it's an episode. It's episodic writing. You write this episode once or twice a week and put it online. I have absolutely no, except for a couple of blurby highlights. I'm working without an outline. Normally I don't do that because I write mysteries, but this is more of just following a character and having them interact sort of organically and see what happens. It's turning out to be a lot of fun. Now, I was going to read. I don't know. Let's see if I can read. Here's what I'm going to read a little bit of this. I won't read the whole thing, but just to get a sense of how this is written. All the stories I have, except for two, they're all written in very different ways. I'm really kind of exploring my voice, and this is a particular voice. Full disclosure. Weird how memories work. I'm bopping along the primrose path when suddenly a whiff, an impression, an odd pang bleeped into my consciousness, and bam, I was Sophie's age, feeling sick to my stomach with some jerk-off loser telling me I had no choice if I wanted to be his girl. That lasted for an eye blink before he hightailed it and got another girl pregnant. She had the baby. I saw them once downtown. He walked ahead of her as she trailed behind carrying the child while pulling a suitcase. They were walking in the street, not on the sidewalk. What idiocy was that? They didn't last. My takeaway, damned if you do and damned if you don't. Anyway, I understood the connection that made me want to puke. It was the word mother, as in foster mother. Wait, what was I, a Pavlovian dog? Yes, stuff brings back other stuff, hardened inside the brain and the gut, that's difficult to let go of, that can be, while an incomprehensible source of tremendous pain. An old friend that always finds you willing and able to suffer in silence in the privacy of home for God and country. Case in point, besides having a queasy stomach, I tend toward the occasional gasping panic attack with air the texture of creme brulee that blocks my airways and numbs my hands, but I digressed. So that's a story about Caroline is the point of view character. It's first person point of view. The whole story will be in her point of view, and she is meeting for the first time her niece, who is uh, the niece's father is Caroline's brother who recently died. So there is that. Now, how do I get out of this? I don't know. We go back. Let me go back again. So that is The Accidental Nun. Next one is The Cure, an international thriller. The Cure is an interesting. Now this is more in my genre. It's a mystery, but it's a suspense. We know who the bad guy is in this, and we know who the good guy is. We know the good guy and the bad guy, good girl and the bad girl, and it's international because it takes place. Well, it takes place mostly in the United States, but it has an international flavor to it. And this is a book I started many, many years ago when I was trying to get a publisher. Uh, they had the Bombshell series at Harlequin, and this was what I would consider, sort of a very active female character. I originally submitted it to them. They lost the manuscript. I kind of gave up, and then I put it away, and I've been resurrecting it as time goes on. And so now I'm back in for the third time trying to get it finished. It's probably half done at this point. The elevator spiel is Curran, a photojournalist, is unknowingly being used as a mule to transport deadly microbes across the globe, where sinister dark forces vie for the technology and its ultimate power. And then let's look at one of the um, episodes. We'll start with the beginning. Guggenheim. Read just a couple of paragraphs. So this is third person, and it's in Kern's voice. I have in this story, I have the protagonist and the antagonist point of views in different chapters. This starts with Kern. The lump in Kern's throat was thickening. She swallowed hard and forced a deep breath. But her wildly pumping heart choked her airways. Gasping, she leaned into the bathroom sink. She had to calm down before an all-out panic attack set in. She made fists with her hands. They weren't numb, not yet. Breathe deeper, you coward. Get it together. Suck it up now. For a fleeting moment, she caught a reflection in the mirror. It wasn't good. Pale as paste, washed out fear. What a joke she was. How could a traveler of war zones get shot down in the unlikeliest of places by, a man? But then, wasn't it always? Some man, some joker pulling invisible strings. What was up with her? Oh, yeah, she was a loser. Loser. Leaning over the sink, she tried to steady her breath. So that's the beginning of Curran. This is ongoing. This will take a long time to finish. At least I'm thinking a year, or maybe to the end of the year. Let's go back. And back again. The next one is one I just started very recently. It's called The Lure of Chianti and Fava Beans: How to Write a Killer Mystery. And I've been writing mysteries. A lot of my short stories are mysteries. I've written, of course, a Hattie Moon series, which I will talk about also. So this is going to be a nonfiction piece that's in Vella, and let's click on that one. The Lure of Chianti and Fava Beans: How to Write a Killer Mystery is for writers. If you are a new writer, bravo. This primer on mystery writing will present some of the basic building blocks that must be considered before your story is started. If you are a writer who wants to expand into mysteries or have a mystery subplot in your current work, this series will explain the critical details in fleshing out a great story. Also included are some fiction writing basics. So let's begin with that. Let's go to all episodes and let's look at. Not the introduction is really just what to expect from the book. Let's go to Victim. Many years ago, I was teaching a class on mystery writing. I began with, "Today you are going to kill someone." Two people walked out and wanted their money back. In fact, they did get their money back, and I was never asked to return. It's a funny story, but in truth, when you write a mystery, you'll need a body. It's like Alfred Hitchcock said in response to how he began his stories, always with a body. The body can be placed anywhere in the story, but it behooves the writer to deal with it long before it's in chapter 12, cold and ripening in some basement on a hot summer night. So I talk about the victim in this section. Start out with the victim. The victim is really the pivotal person in the story, because it's from there where the story extends. So that is going on now. I'm still working on that. I have 13 chapters, I think, or 12, and I'm writing 8 now. Let's go back. The next one is a story I finished. It's called Ever After. It's a short story, a long short story. It's over 6,000 words, and it's about a couple, an old aging couple living up on a hill, like isolated, and they're both writers, and they're both getting older. She's getting a little forgetful, and let's see what this is about. I mean, I know what it's about, but let's see the story. An older couple, husband and wife, both writers, become characters in their own stories. And as I said, this is finished. It has 10 episodes. This can be read in one sitting. Let's see, all episodes. Wayward Directions. I'll start with the first chapter. This is being read off a computer screen. There's a gravitational pull for everyone, but it's not the same. We fall at different velocities in wayward directions, uncontrollable ways. But that's not to say we plummet haphazardly, hardly. Unsteadied, and before the push or fall or jump, we reach out, grab, and hold on until the grasp, once tight, pulls, loosens, and rips apart, or until we let go. And then I stop. So that's what's written on the computer screen. Such were the words her husband had written, still fresh on the computer screen, before he was interrupted by a phone call and went into the other room to speak in private. Elle reads the words again and catches a phrase snagged by its energy, different velocities and wayward directions, and wonders how this might read in her lexicon. She closes her eyes and sees with vivid clarity. It's nighttime after the fall equinox, where winds spin and swirl, causing a young woman's dress to billow and her hair to loosen from a ribbon that then spirals and tangles every which way, and where the moon is high and bright, seen and caught within the tentacles of a tall, twisty bark tree. So we have these two writers, they're reading each other's stuff, and then there's also a story being told in between their writing. Um, it's an interesting story. It's an interesting, it was a challenging story, and so it was a different voice, of course. Yeah. So let's go with who's next here? Howie in Love, Hattie Moon Mystery. Now, some of you may have read Hattie Moon Mystery called Murder in the Pachysandra. This is the second one up. It's the second in the series. I'm hoping to do 5. These are different stories, but the same sleuth and sleuth's helper, which is Hattie and her sidekick Muriel. And here is the bit about this. Hattie Moon, a modern-day Miss Marple, is thrown into a mystery close to home when her son Howie gets engaged. While his bride-to-be is charming, Hattie learns the woman is a widow who lives with a mother and sister who are also widows. Naturally, Hattie becomes concerned, as she should. With the clock ticking, Hattie dives into detective mode as Howie's wedding day closes in. I'm at chapter 23 on this. I'm probably halfway through. And I'll start with the beginning of this, maybe. This is a third person told in Hattie's point of view. The whole story is told in Hattie's point of view. And let's see how this begins. The lover's card. Orrin, Hattie said to the air around her, our china looks as pretty as the day we bought it. She faced her husband's photograph. Remember when we first used these? It was in that apartment 3 flights up. It took 5 trips. I wanted to help, but the words caught in her throat. Speaking to her dead husband always ended up in tears. She imagined his voice. Stop it. This is a happy day. Hattie nodded. Now go find the salt and pepper. Back in the kitchen, Hattie resumed the search. At one time she had collected shakers, but she couldn't find one darn pair. Had she tossed them all, or were they in the attic, basement, on the other hand? Hattie glanced at the uppermost cupboard shelf, well beyond reach. Orrin used to put things up there. Surely a quick peek wouldn't take long. She dragged over the trusty step stool and considered the plan. If she climbed to the top of the ladder, then stepped onto the counter, she'd be able to see what stuff was crammed inside. Easy peasy. Moments later, she had one foot on the counter and another on the ladder, but with nothing to hold on to, she couldn't move in either direction. Unexpectedly, the back door slammed. Was Howie early? If he saw her, he'd go ballistic. Frozen to the spot, she had to think fast. The kitchen door busted open. It was Muriel. Thank God. Her friend blinked hard. What the friggin' fried cakes are you doing up there? If you were any higher, I'd be able to see your undies. Hattie thought quick. Who says I'm wearing undies? Muriel's face brightened. Commando. Girls in the house, but seriously, WTF. So here we're introduced to the 2 main characters, and there's humor and quaintness and cuteness. But the mysteries are, I think, quite good. The first book, Murder in the Pachysandra, got some excellent reviews. It's also available in audiobook if you want to look at that. So this is a lot of fun. I've introduced some new characters, and it's a lot of fun. So that is that. Now let's go back a little bit, and we're going to the last but not least, Barton Digby Falls. Barton Digby Falls is also completed. It's 10 episodes. It's like 6,000 words. And it was another one very similar to the one I'm working now called The Accidental Aunt. I had no idea what I was going to say. I just started with a character's name, and I just went with it. And it was so much fun to write. It's got some weird stylistic things about it that I was playing around with. And it's about a lifelong bachelor and company president takes the plunge with a company secretary. It's been told many times before, but not with Barton. Let's go into this, and Let's do the first one. It's called Paramecium. I won't read the whole thing, and you'll notice that it's there's no punctuation. I'm just trying to. It just seems. I was experimenting with not without well periods and capitalization with sentences. I just wanted it to kind of keep going, and I figured when you're not looking at a very long page, you're looking at more of a narrow page. I think it reads pretty well in a narrow page, and that's what most of these stories are for. They're for a phone to be read, episodic stories read on a phone. Barton Digby lived to be an old man, crotchety and mean, rambling around a 10,000 square foot house, catching mice, saving bags from grocery stores, and thinking about Leonora, a wife he once had when he wore suits and took a limo to work where he had met her, a girlfriend to one of his underlings, a woman who had the most remarkable speaking voice, not too sweet, not too throaty, a woman who wasn't so much a beauty as a creature, unique, like something of another world, like a slender, fluttery poppy or a calm, understated Ukrainian flag, or so she felt, and I went on and on. The understated Ukrainian flag is kind of interesting. This was written before the whole Ukrainian thing came up, but I was looking at flags and thinking, what's kind of a quirky thing to compare someone to? And I thought I saw the Ukrainian flag, and really thought it was quite peaceful. Um, so that's the story, and with Barton, Mr. Barton Digby. Let's go back here. So I don't know if, as readers, if you know much about Vella, I'm going to put a link to these stories. They're hard to find, which is not great. So that's a problem. It's just starting out, this whole program. So what it is, if you are a writer, you may want to consider it. You write um, episodes, and it can be anywhere from 600 words to 5,000 words. That doesn't seem like an episode to me if it's 5,000 words, but you can go up to 5,000 words. You get paid for every 100 words. You get paid a penny for royalties. That's not what's going to get you a lot of money. But what they're offering now are bonuses, and so they're paying you to publish work. And the bonuses, it's hard to say how they're figuring it out. I don't know how they're figuring out. No one seems to know how they figure out, because you may do the same thing in both months, but you'll get a different amount of money. I'm not sure what that is. Now there is a pot of money um, earmarked for the Vella program, and maybe it depends on how other people are submitting their work, and maybe you're being rated how other people are doing, and that's how you get whatever you get. I don't. No one seems to know, but it is worth doing for a couple reasons. One reason is you get paid, and you get paid more than royalties, a lot more than royalties. So far, I've made over almost $1,000, and that's in maybe 5 months of work. Now, that's not great money if you're a real writer. I mean, well, I am a real writer. What am I talking about? But I mean, I'm just living off royalties. But and that was working. That was, I mean, I had one busy month, and the other months I was really kind of just. Some months I didn't write at all. I mean, I didn't count the winter months when I had the holidays and was working on the house projects. So I've had essentially 6 months of writing, some more than others. So there is money to be made, and the thing is, if they're paying you, it encourages you to finish things, to write things and finish them. So it's a great incentive to get down to writing and put your stuff out there. My opinion. They were looking for young writers. They were looking for fantasy writers, speculative fiction, that kind of thing. But they're actually publishing everything. They're publishing nonfiction. I have a nonfiction book here, and they're also publishing romance. They publish romance, mysteries. I mean, they have all kinds of writing that they accept. Ideally, according to their regulations or rules, they want you to publish at least twice a week, but 600 words is doable. Now I'm working on 4 stories right now, so it is kind of hard to keep up that kind of for me, it's hard to keep that kind of pace up, but I'm trying to do it the best I can. Um, what I have learned is, you get better at writing, and in some ways, it was harder for me to, get my head in one story and then jump to another story, and I figured I can't do that. But then what I found out more recently is it's kind of nice jumping from one to another because you kind of hit it fresh. And so it's kind of good to have more than one thing going. I don't know where this is all going to go, but we'll see what happens. I'm going to leave the link below for this page here. If you want to check it out, please feel free to do that. As I said, well, I didn't say, the first 3 episodes of every story is free. You can just read them and see if you like them. And then as you go on, you pay for the length of the story. And mine are all most of them run between 600 and 700 words. So that would be 6 cents for viewing another episode. Of course, it adds up. That's the reader. It's interesting. I was looking at one very, very successful Vella story, and the readers were expressing concern because the story kept going on and on and on and on, and they ended up spending a lot more money than they would if it was a book. So there's some issues. They have to kind of fine tune things as time goes on to see how that's going to work. Because if their readers don't show up, that's a problem. Anyways. I think that's it for now. These are kind of cool digs here. I don't know. He did set me up here, and I'm supposed to do something. I think I have to press the finish button, and then I'm going to upload this. Thanks for watching. And as I said, if you want me to do a little reading for you, just send along a question in my email. I'll do the reading, and there's no charge. And I'll put it online, and you can see. I won't say who you are. You just can read it. You can see it online. I want to use some different decks, or if there's a deck you want me to use, let me know. Or if you want me to do a political reading, if you have some questions, I can throw it out there, throw some cards. Tarot has become, tarot's a nice little break from all this other stuff I'm doing. And I hope to, again, say that I hope to have more writing, more art coming up. Okay, thanks for watching, and I think I'm done. Have a great day.